fly, more wind-resistant fly, that means you need a larger line. This is a 7-weight line. If you got a 7-weight line, you need a larger rod, a 7-weight rod, in order to carry it. If I'm fishing a dry line, I'll actually have a little bit longer leader so that the weighted fly has an opportunity to get down. If, on the other hand, you're using the sink tip, as they said in the video yesterday, because you're getting down near the bottom, there's less light, you've got the sink tip going down, you don't want a long leader with a fly then that can move up away from where the fly line is. So you often use maybe even a 3-foot leader on a sink tip. Alright, casting. Weighting first. This is fun because you can't see out here. Notice I'm reaching around to make sure that I've got something I can plant myself on before I transfer my weight. If you just step out and you're stepping in a hole, there's no coming back, okay? So find out where you are first and go from there. Alright, fly line above the fly, you'll notice my orange streamer is pointing straight downstream. If I had a drag-free float, I'm just coming down as I showed you with the butt of the fly coming at the fish. If, on the other hand, the fly is across and the line's like this, notice now the fly is cutting across the stream, and a fish down here, that fly is going to be moving, and it's going to give it the broadside of the fly. So, I think Jimmy probably showed you when you do a cast, number of pieces, you know, we talked about thumb on top, being able to do a 45 so you can look behind you. Very important in a stream, especially like this one. Before you cast, are there trees behind you? Do you have a free shot to cast? Reach, yep, I've got the line up out of the water so that I'm no major drag. I've got a short line here. I can start my cast behind, cast. Now, right after I cast, I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to transfer the line to this hand so I have control. Even those of you who were up until 1:30 last night drinking, you can probably still find your two hands. You don't have to look, you know, take the line, some of you are smiling, and I'm not saying who is up, and transfer it to this hand. Now notice where I have it. I like to use 2 fingers, some people use maybe just one. The longest one seems to catch the line. This is comfortable for me, and we have plenty of time. It's going to take time for the next group to get here. With the line here, I can strip line in. Now notice my hand isn't going up above. This stripping hand always stays behind the rod hand. Come up behind, I can strip it in. And if I want to let line out, if I have the rod tip near the water, so the water is dragging on that line, I can grab a handful of line here and bring it up and put it in this rod hand and have it strip that line out. Notice I have this hand, the stripping hand is always behind this. If you take a bunch of line and you go like this and you're throwing it up here trying to get it to go out, it's going to drag in the water. You may drag more here than there and just pull the line right up into your rod. If, however, and if you lost the line, some people we see them going downstream trying to catch their line, it's right here at your first guide. Reach up here, grab it, put it in this hand so you have control. So now, you can cast behind you, put the line in the water, and now reach straight downstream, and you can put the rod tip near the water, and you can transfer line to this hand. You can feed line out to let that fly float down to that rock or log structure you want to get it to, and when it gets there, then start stripping it across. It will go across when the line gets taut, and that may be just fine, or you might want to let it go for a bit. You can let it just swing with the current, or you can strip it to add some action. If you watch minnows standing on a dock, do they just motorboat along? No, it's zip, 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 zip. So you can, by stripping line, each time I jerk a little bit here, that fly is going to jerk a little bit at the end. So I can add that action. If you have a leech floating in the water is not going to go, it's just kind of go along with the current and up and down. So with a leech, you might just move your rod tip up and down to let that fly go up and down. It's weighted so that, or just slight pulls on it to make it come up and down to make it undulate and move. So you're trying to give action to your fly instead of a drag-free, it's just dead in the water floating down the stream. All right, I'm gonna come over here if I can. Where might fish be? Well, we don't have somebody out here to feed marshmallows to the stream. Generally, we don't have those people along, and there's nobody there to play the music for us either. But when you come out to the stream, notice this seam in the current here that's very fast. On the other side, it's fairly slow. And oh look, marshmallows. All right, it's a place where there's not the heavy current, so fish doesn't work hard to have to stay in there. They've got some cover. It looks like food's being sent to them. Maybe some undercut bank and log over there. That looks like a real fishy spot. So let's go ahead and fish to it. With a streamer, I like to get it up as close to the bank as I can and then zip it out of the hole. You don't want to let something like this sit. You know, they're not a perfect, view of a fish or whatever. You're trying to give the impression. This is sort of the Monet approach to flies. You're giving the impression of food. Don't give them a chance to really study it. Say, oh God, Jim must have tied this one on one night when he tied another one on. He's done better. I'm not taking that one. You want to get it in there and get it out. So we'll find a position for ourselves where we think we've got a good shot at getting it up into the flats. Pick our line up, cast it in. Didn't get it in quite as deep as I wanted, so I've got a couple of choices. I can go with a longer line, or I can move in a little closer to it. I don't have to have forever line out. All right, there's a big fly right there coming up. Cast it up in, get it where I want it, maybe let it go a little bit, and then I can strip it across. And I can fish a lot of water by just taking a couple of steps downstream, picking the line up again, cast it up in there, and immediately strip that out of there. And maybe I want to get down along that log. I'm going to go sideways here to see how much of a hole I've got. All right. Again, behind, pick it up, cast it up in there. Now let it down a little bit. I'm going to feed it out till it gets down near that island, and then I can strip it across and make it move. Don't worry about making this move too fast. There is nothing you can do to move that fly faster than a trout can get it. So you can go slow, you can go fast, you can try different retrieves. Now, suppose I've got a whole bunch of tag alders right behind me, and I can't cast, all right? You can let whatever line out you want downstream, pick up your rod, and do a roll cast. Get some line behind you, and just flip it out. Now, you may find it difficult to go from straight downstream to straight across. Well, all right, don't do it in one shot. Go down, and you can kind of march your way across. Oh, I like where that one is. I'll go ahead and fish that one right through there. Put it up in the shallows, get it down to where you want it. Bring it across. Now, I've got it down below me. Nothing's happened. Take a break, whatever. Do not just pick this up and cast it now, because there are 4 brook trout sitting below that wondering who's going to take it, okay? And John, do you want that? No. Fred, do you want Sally? How about you? About the time you pick that up, the back cast it is when one of them will latch on and you will send one of the brook trout off into the bushes. So I recommend if it's down here like that, give it a couple of twitches just to make sure nobody's waiting, and then you can cast. The other thing is, you don't want to just rip all this line right off the water. Notice the spray and the commotion. You want to bring it in so you've got a reasonable amount of line. Pick it up off the water. The only thing in there is the fly right now. And now you can cast it a lot easier, and you're not really ripping up the world down here, sending shockwaves all over the place. Talking about roll casting to get to where you want to get. You can only roll cast so far, and let's say that you can't wade any further downstream, but there's a big hole you want to get into. Well, then swim it over there. Now, how do we do that? Again, the fly's going to go where the line is. So if I reach over here, put the rod tip down on the water or in it and drag, put a little bit more line over, all I'm doing is casting the upper part of the line, but I can swim that fly right up over into those flats, point the rod tip downstream, I can let out line from here to forever. Boom. Now I've got it where I want it, and I can swim that back across.